So this is a complicated topic. It is an advanced dog trainer topic. I don't speak to my clients in general on this stuff because we just do practical exercises of practice, which will also get you there. Hey guys, this is Mark Wright from Argos Dog Training, and today we're gonna record an episode in our AskArgos thread. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. AskArgos series. That's the word I'm looking for. Hey guys, this is Martin Wright from Argos Dog Training, and today we're gonna record another one of our AskArgos series videos. So if you want to ask a question to Argos Dog Training, just on Twitter, hit #AskArgos. We'll answer there. Also, if you put them anywhere else and I find them, we'll definitely answer. By the way, we do read every comment that you send to us via YouTube. I read everyone personally, and I know Frank looks them over as well. So if you have any questions, concerns, or anything you want us to know, just hit us with there on the YouTube or on #AskArgos, which is really hard for me to say for some reason. Anyway, today's question is as follows. How do you control body language? I feel mine is all wrong. What can I do to fix this? This is a question that was asked by Priscilla. We talked about Priscilla before and her dog named Brutus, who was a young pup, a Rottweiler pup. So controlling your body is very important with dog training because dogs, their primary language or the primary way that they understand each other is through what they do with their bodies, right? If I want to influence a dog, I have to make sure that dog can understand me. So I have to control my body. I have to control and then be aware of what's going on with my body, right? The way I think about dog training a lot of the times, there's one thing to keep in mind. The way I think about it is that each dog will respond to each person according to how that person presents himself to the dog. So my goal is to present myself in a way that makes the dog want to do the things that I want them to do. You know, if you watch some of my videos, you'll see when I pull up on the leash, the dog sits and then I release tension from the leash. Every time I do that, the dog will continue to do that behavior. It's kind of like if you have a puppet, maybe a puppet with strings, and you know how they control them with both hands and they have all the strings, and when you lift your pinky, the puppet lifts his left hand. We have to make sure that as we're training, when we're training dogs, it's similar to that. You know, as I do something, the dog sees it and responds to it. I want to know exactly what I did, and I want to be able to see exactly what the dog did in response. I want to remember that, so that way later on, if I didn't get the response I wanted, I could change things in the direction that I want to go in order to get that response. If I did get the response I wanted, I could do it exactly the same later on, so that way I get that response again exactly the same. All right, so this is a complicated topic. It is an advanced dog trainer topic. I don't speak to my clients in general on this stuff because we just do practical exercises of practice, which will also get you there. You know, just doing the practical exercises where you're focused on, am I stepping with my left leg forward every time? Is the dog behind the heel? You know, all those kind of things go a long way into making yourself really predictable for your dog. And once you're really predictable, the dog is reading that sign language, that body language, then you could get your dog to behave any way you want. That's when we start talking about intentions versus commands. There's so much that could go into this. We'll talk about all that stuff later. But yeah, that's what it is. That's how we get our awareness and our mindfulness. So how do you control body language? To control body language, the first thing that we have to do is we have to be aware of what our body is doing. And there are many practical exercises to help us to become aware of what our body is doing. When I started out in dog training in 2010, one of my big problems, one thing that I was not aware of, one thing that I did habitually is I would bend down too much when I was training or working with a dog. My very first teacher, what he told me to do was to take my shirt off and put it on something flat, and to pin on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper on the back of my shirt. And what would happen is every time that I would bend over, it would bend the paper and it would pull up the back of my shirt, and that would let me know that I was bending over. And I used that, and that did help me with the bending problem I had, and it did start to get me to stand straighter. But that was just one problem. The other things I did in the very beginning was that I would record myself on video. I would record 2-minute sessions of me working with the dog. I would pick up that recording device and I would replay it. At the same time, I'd have a notebook with me, and everything that I realized that was an error, I would mark it in a notebook. So if I repeated a command, I would mark that down. If I said come on instead of let's go, I would mark that down. Everything that I saw that was a mistake, I would mark it in that notebook, and then I would record again, I'd watch again, and I'd mark again. I'd record again, I'd watch again, and I'd mark again. And I did that for months and months till eventually I made a 2-minute video where there were no errors in it. Then I started doing longer videos doing the same thing. I don't do that anymore, so there might be a couple errors in my videos, but it's so few. Because I changed my habits using this technique, there's so few errors that it really doesn't affect the training much. So that is something that I did as a way to be able to become more aware of my body language and the things I was saying, to bring awareness to what I'm doing. Another thing, later on, I started mindfulness exercises, because mindfulness and awareness are the same thing. And if I'm going to control my body language, I have to be aware or mindful of what I'm doing with my body. So I started with some mindfulness exercises. I started with what most people, I think, start with, which is just breathing exercises, where I would just sit there and I would breathe in, breathe out, and I would just be aware of where my thoughts would go. After about 10 seconds of breathing, of course, you start thinking about other things. I would become aware of those other thoughts, and I'd bring myself back to the breathing. That exercise helped out a lot. I started to expand on it. I started to use counting, so I'd count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I do that over and over and over again. And then, of course, as thoughts started popping into my head, I would, nope, I'm counting now. And I'll go back to counting. Later on, as I got better and better with these things, I started to actually feel my heartbeat and my pulses, and things like that, and just be aware of that. And as my thoughts would come, I'd say, nope, that's not what I'm doing right now. I'm paying attention to this. And that helped a lot with my awareness in general. Other things I started to do later on was I would do little exercises, right? Things like moving as silently as possible. I would pay attention and I would try to move as silently as I could, trying to make no noise. If I was closing doors, I'd close them as quietly as possible. If I'm walking upstairs, I try to do that as quietly as possible. If I'm typing on a keyboard, I try to hit the keys as quietly as possible. Everything was just to try to be as quiet as possible, so that way I'd notice, every movement that I was making. Other things that you can do in order to be able to help with your awareness is taking dancing classes, gymnastics classes, acting. Those things will help as well. I also started martial arts later on. That helped a lot with my body awareness and spatial awareness. Sports can help with body awareness and spatial awareness. All those things are important if we want to control our body language and what we're doing with it. As I start to get more and more into these things, I also start to pay more attention to other things as well. Things like the dog. What's the dog's body language like? And not only dogs, but also my clients, my human clients. I'd watch their body language, and start to pay more attention to that. Overall awareness would grow over time, and the habits that I had in the past would start to become eliminated. A habit, by the way, is something that you or your dog does without thinking about it, right? So as we bring thoughts to things, we could change habits, not only in ourselves, but also in our dog's behavior. Okay, guys, I hope that's helpful. If you have any other questions, once again, hit hashtag AskArgos on Twitter, subscribe to our channel, hit the little bell in the corner so that way you get notifications as new episodes appear. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, this is YouTube, haha, and Instagram. Definitely check the links in the description below. They'll take us right to all of our sites. All right, thank you very much. Enjoy your dog and enjoy your day. Or enjoy your day and enjoy your dog. Can't even get my own catchphrase right. What's going on, world? Enjoy.